What's going on, guys? Before we get into the real part of this is episode 3 of Wrecked Bike Rebuild Season 4, and I was watching the last part of the last episode, which was 2 months ago, by the way, so we've traveled 2 months in time, because that was right when we got back from bringing the Panigale home, and as you guys could tell in the last part of the episode, I was very tired, and I was like, we're going to talk about the cost of the U-Haul and how it was a terrible trip. The official made it home time is 5:48 a.m. I'm gonna go to bed now. And, 2 months down the road, I've forgotten at how tired I was when that video, when I recorded that video. So I went back and crunched the numbers because when I ended that video, I was like, that was the worst decision ever. And it made me curious, what were, financially, how bad of a decision was the U-Haul trip. So I did some number crunching and Excel sheets. So typically to ship a bike from Texas to here in Atlanta is gonna be anywhere between $900 and $1,200. That's kind of like the range I would personally expect if I was gonna just pay somebody to pick the bike up and drive it here. So instead of that, what we did was me, Brian, and Luke flew to Texas. We rented a U-Haul, and it took the miscellaneous gas amount to get back. So how off were the numbers? So the U-Haul cost was $745. Okay, we had the flights which were actually like super cheap. So for all 3 flights, it only cost us $144, and then the gas and like miscellaneous food and snack stuff was $214. So that comes to a total of $1,104. So we'll chalk that up to the budget of this build. Actually, if we're doing the price breakdown, we got to put the cost of the actual motorcycle in there, and we picked up this Panigale for $7 grand. So right now, we're not really looking that bad. That price for all 3 of us to fly to Texas and drive it back was only $1,100, which is a lot of money. I'm not saying that's not a lot of money, but in comparison to how much it would have cost to get it shipped, it's around the same. And because of paying that amount of money instead of getting it shipped, we got the fun, videos of going to get it and stuff. So I think in the very end of last video, I think what I was saying was I was really exhausted and tired, and maybe that's what was doing all the talking for me, not an actual financial breakdown. So does it make financial sense for one of you guys to do that? Probably not, but if you're like me, a YouTuber, and you're making a build show, I think that was totally worth getting 2 fun episodes of content on this little fun travel adventure thing. So 2 months later, the Chase that is making this video, I'm kind of okay with the whole U-Haul thing. Now, if it would have been any farther than Texas and that 12-hour trip, it starts getting a little sketchy. But anyway, let's go on to the actual cool part of this episode. I just wanted to jump in, throw the numbers, and jump out because we're trying to keep up with a build budget. So build budget, we'll keep that up and going throughout the season, so that way we know how much we're actually spending on these episodes. It's probably smart to know that. All right, guys, so let's jump to the next day. The guys are going to come in here, and we're going to get working on this Panigale. Let's go. Brian, you're gonna upset people because you don't need that. Guys, what? Oh my! Oh, no. What is this? Oh, these are balls. No. This is so scary. No. I'm gonna get hit in the face. Where's my patented glasses?
That was fun.
I was about to do some Mission Impossible shit to get across the garage and be like,
try and not get hit. Face first.
welcome to episode 3 of Wrecked by Rebuild Season 4. My mouth is full of saliva and I'm about to start spitting.
About to
True
start
statement.
drooling on myself.
We've talked about the U-Haul cost this much. It took so long to drive home. But we now have a motorcycle.
I don't want to hear that. That road trip was pretty much a nightmare.
It absolutely was. But you guys already know that because I talked about it in the intro to this video. I think we should probably get the bike in here, but it feels kind of nice to have a lift with nothing on it. You know, there's no impending doom. There's no parts that aren't fitting. There's no clutch that actually can't confirm on the clutch part. We haven't checked that part. Okay.
Now we have a whole nother impending doom to roll onto the lift.
Yeah, I feel like we should do our ceremonial roll the junk onto here.
Nice junk.
It is. If we didn't do our job, there would be more junk in the world. But we don't let that happen. There we go. Just beautiful. I gotta say, it's a little sad when we can't drive the bike onto here. Like we get to drive the bobber onto here. This is just like a wah.
Did we even try and fire this thing, or the battery was dead or something, right?
Oh, we should
Push the button.
hypothetically, if we rip the seat off, I assume that's where the battery is.
Actually, the battery's behind that left side cover.
Of course it is. Hypothetically, we plug in our house battery and we could, just so we know.
Fire it for all of about 2 seconds because there's pretty much no oil in it.
Yeah, exactly, because there's a big old hole. Okay, is firing it for like 2 seconds?
Nah, we'll be all right. 2 seconds is okay.
Okay,
I just want to hear the thing fire over.
Right. We're gonna make an entire episode of going through the clutch, hopefully next episode, because if you guys didn't watch season 3, we just finished a bobber where the clutch ended up being...
The clutch exploded and we had to completely tear down the motor and remove all the clutch material and reassemble.
On episode 22 of 24. So this is gonna give us a much better idea of where we are as far as this team and getting boned on motorcycles.
Yes.
Do you notice in the episodes, like I start out real chipper and you're always like an even keel, and I just like, you're like gravity where you slowly suck me into this like, nah dude, this is where we are.
Yeah. So we're gonna need 2 things to get started. We're gonna need a key.
Okay.
And we're gonna need a 3mm Allen so we can take some of this bodywork off.
I'm gonna give you those in the most epic way possible.
You try.
I will, Brian. I will. Is in the office. I've got the 3. I've got it. You can have it.
That's gonna look so cool coming at the slow-mo camera.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
You're getting to the battery. I understand now. Okay, I'm caught up. Thanks for letting me know, Brian. How easy you can get to your battery on a Panigale 959. What is this little guy? Luke, you know all about batteries and on Ducatis, don't you?
His is in a really special place too. Is your battery in the swing arm on that thing? Yeah, that thing sucks. It's one of the worst batteries to...
Yeah, I can't complain too much about this because like I've watched Luke with his monster trying to do his battery stuff, and it's like he takes the entire bike apart to get to the battery. Seems as if the back is dead, Brian. Oh God.
He's got a couple extra wires on there. Yeah, he does.
Andre, why you got all this special stuff?
Well, at least it's tidy.
And it looks like a 10 millimeter.
Okay. That battery's useless to us?
Now, if we don't have jumper cables, we're not going to be able to get that battery, our shop battery, in there.
Oh, we have the little alligator things.
That's not going to be enough.
Really?
I'll smoke those things in a heartbeat. They'll literally like light on fire and melt to pieces.
Oh, hell yeah.
So we don't have to worry about any of this. This is probably just a battery.
These
tender.
are...
Yeah.
I
So
see.
2 positives. I don't know why there's 3. Maybe a battery tender lead or some sort of power accessory for something. We'll just leave that out of the way.
Right.
So we need these 2 and this 1 to attach to power.
So what kind of cable can we use to...
Jumper cables. Positive there, negative there.
All right. This is the first time I've ever done this on a motorcycle, so this is kind of scary. But
Positive first.
God, I suck. Okay, so on. Well, that was cool.
Ready?
Oh God.
Battery's too weak.
But it's okay. Turning on, so.
Yeah, but we need to make the motor turn.
Right, okay. What if we plugged in the old battery, put a battery tender on the old battery, then cranked it?
Tender's not enough.
Damn.
A tender only puts out like half an amp.
How many amps does it need?
A lot more than half. Typically you put a tender lead so you don't have to take anything off.
Well, luckily Andre prepared the bike a little for us by taking a few things on the front off.
So it might work if we just plug this thing in.
Okay. It's at the top middle is a. I think you need that. This is another one of those dramatic moments. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun.
I don't know if that's gonna do it, but let's find out.
Ooh, it made a noise.
Good. That's all I needed to do.
Yes!
Okay, it fired over. That's all I wanted to know. Now we can tear it apart.
Hypothetically now, if we just replace that cover, put oil in it, we would be, because there's a hole in the
Clutch cover.
It is the clutch cover? Okay.
Yes.
We do have a hole in the clutch cover on this bike, as you guys have probably seen in the videos. Man, so that was good. Okay. Now that's the clutch that we would smell. Okay, so now we know the engine's not shot, basically.
Correct. That's
which would be
what I was looking for.
Okay. So now we can get all this battery crap out of the way and start
removing stuffs. Ready for stuffs removal?
Yes, but with the ZX-10 during the stuffs removal part, you were not there, and I was basically just...
Right.
So...
How far do you want to strip this down? You want it to continue to be a roller, correct?
Let's move all the battery stuff out of the way, and then we'll talk about what levels of destruction.
All right, have at it. So these bolts that we took out along this edge here, every one of those bolts has a clear plastic washer on it, so it doesn't scuff the paint.
Okay.
99% of the Ducatis that I put my hands on, some of those washers were missing.
Okay.
Because you take the screw off and the washer is stuck to the bodywork.
Right.
And because it's kind of clear, you can't really see it. And then after it sits by itself for a little while, it kind of just falls off and then they're disappeared forever.
So are you saying right now that our goal is to make sure there's a plastic washer?
Those 4 bolts that we just pulled off all still have those clear plastic washers on it. Let's not lose them.
Oh. Okay, cool. We can make sure that happens. All right, look, I got everyone. Look at the camera. See camera? I got every one of these. May it be known that I have all the plastic washers. So.
All right, so we're gonna take the bodywork off first. So 3mm T-handle and get to work.
Right.
You may want to bring this thing up.
Yes. Yeah. All right, Ducati, you're officially on that bitch now. Enjoy the rest of your life. Body panels first.
You know what I think you should do? You have a 3mm Allen socket, and then use your little baby gun.
Brian, you realize it's my favorite part in life.
Is the fact that I said baby.
When you say baby,
Well, I only called it baby because that's what you refer to it as. And instead of you going, what part?
Hey, I know what a baby is.
You could either use that one or the ratchet.
Brian, we've talked about this. This is mine. That's yours.
No, the ratchet one. You can use the ratchet one too. Takes the same battery as that.
This thing looks like a gun and it's cool.
Put everything on the lift, and then once you've taken the hardware out, you can bag it all.
Meant to do that.
Yeah. Well, we're missing some bodywork, so we're already missing some hardware.
Great. We might as well not even do this bike then.
Well, because there's a couple there. There's one missing there.
Wait, so what's
there's
holding-
one missing here. There will be a lot of different tools to use when disassembling a Ducati because they like to use a lot of different size hardware.
Of course they do. Why would they not? Because
There are 3 along the bottom.
Yeah, that. I'm going over here. Wait, so are you saying Andre sold us this bike and there was missing hardware?
Well, it was thrown down the highway at 55 miles an hour. I'm not surprised. It's missing a little bit more than just some hardware, if you can't tell.
He didn't say there was missing hardware though.
Like, a headlight and,
good point. See, I didn't
some other stuff that's missing right now.
How many 959s have you
This one's for the bottom. How many Panigale bodywork is pretty much the same for all Panigale?
Right.
There are some very subtle differences between them. So if you've taken apart an 1199, a 1299, an 899, a 959, all the bodywork is pretty much the same. This piece is pretty much just ready to come off.
Yeah, there's. Oh,
Okay.
that's broke.
So there is a hook here, and a hook there.
You're like a living manual. This is awesome.
Okay, so when
Is it push forward type
when you
thing?
take this, it's both directions. You have to slide back to get this pin out, or I should say forward to get this pin out, and then back to get these two. So forward first, and then this little, and then back. Oh, they're already out. See, they're back here.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So this is actually, sorry, you got a little ahead of me, but this goes right here. It's attached by this hook. So you kind of have to just rock it backwards and it kind of rolls off.
Well, I mean, this one
It was already broken.
Broke, so it just
Yeah.
popped out.
That's why it just popped out. Now you're also looking at when you take these bolts out,
Right.
lay them next to each other so you can see if there's any differences in the hardware.
Yeah, I mean, the one that came from the bottom of here is totally different than the.
Now take the next two out and make sure that
Right.
there is only one there.
It looks like one up front. Nope.
That's why I wanted you to check. I knew
Right.
that front one, the shoulder is thicker because
Like you wanna-
there's more pieces of plastic that it goes through.
Oh, that's good. So that's the front one. And
Well, can you get that side off? That side should come off now.
yeah, this should be off. That's not going to be fun to get on so close to the brake pedal, right? Or is that bent in?
This is
Correct.
bent a little bit, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It is a tight fit though. You have to be very careful when you put that on.
Yeah.
Now we also have to, before we throw these away, make sure that we take all these
Metal tabs.
clips off, yeah.
Right.
So,
Okay. Holy shit, what is that?
that's the radiator fan.
That's a fan?
Yep. It's a fan and a tunnel.
Dude, that's nuts. Okay, so all of this is body hardware, and that goes into our body hardware Ziploc.
Correct.
Okay, we're already ahead of season 2.
Now would be a good time to start taking all those little metal clips off.
I think this is a part that when people update their bodywork on their bike, they don't really think about this part, the little metal clips.
Yeah,
I know there's
absolutely.
been like multiple times where I would switch out the fairings on my R6 and the fairings never come with the
No.
metal clips.
No, they fully expect you to remove it from the previous.
Body panel, little metal clips, check.
Now we have the ignition switch surround that will allow us to take the inner fenders off.
Okay.
So there's a screw here, those are both 3s, and then there's one here, those are both 4s.
Where's my quick boy?
There you go.
Now, should we put these with the bodywork?
Yep.
All right, you said these are 4s?
Yep.
Brian, could you grab me that 4
Sure.
Allen head socket thing? Thanks. Ooh, what the?
Those are a little different, aren't they?
What the hell is this?
Those are actually nuts, not screws. That would be considered a nut.
Ducati's nuts for doing it.
Turn it over so you can see the bottom is threaded inside like a nut would be.
Yeah, look in the inside of here. It's like, dude, that's weird.
And there's a reason for that.
No.
Well, we're gonna take it apart anyway, so you may want to fish that bolt out though, so it
Where's?
doesn't.
God, if only I had like a small hand that I could grab things with.
You may want to take the hand off and just use the magnet.
Brian, this
It's on there good. Okay, we'll have to wait.
It's going forever. So, let it be noted, if you're watching this episode, in future episodes, there's going to be a point at which we do something and something falls out. So the first person to comment, "Oh, there it is."
You know what? I'm gonna give you something I'm sure a lot of Ducati owners aren't gonna want to hear. I have
I love tea.
removed some bodywork, you know, to PDI or pre-delivery inspect the Ducati, go through everything, make sure, you know, so you take the bodywork off, you put the battery in, make sure there's no leaks anywhere.
Okay.
Brand new bikes out of the crate, take off bodywork, and hardware falls out. And you're like,
Wait, so when you at the shop got it
brand new
in
bike,
the crate,
brand new bike in the crate, disassemble the crate, roll it out of the crate, take the bodywork off to prep it, and random hardware will fall out of it. And it's usually those little tiny black body panel screws,
right?
like the one that you just dropped.
Right.
Somebody at the factory was assembling it, dropped it, and just grabbed another one and moved on.
Dude, that person's terrible. I do want to try just
It happens.
to make sure. I mean, because if you're the guy putting the bike together, like, what are you gonna do? You gonna take the entire bike section apart?
No, you should not drop your hardware.
Oh well.
You know, if you're gonna be assembling somebody's pride and joy, take some pride in it.
Right.
And, you know,
Is it gone forever?
it's in there somewhere.
Where's my life-saving water?
There it is.
Look at you. You're qualified to build brand new Ducatis now. Congratulations. Are we progressing to take the tank off?
Yes.
Okay. Is this
3.
Yep, that's what I was gonna say for sure. Brian, you almost messed up the tank. Ooh, don't do that. That's not good for your hand.
Trust me, my hands have been through way worse than that.
I know, but unnecessarily?
Do you know what this is?
Yeah, the ECU, duh.
Nope.
It's the Ducati BBS.
That is the BBS,
But what is the Ducati BBS?
AKA Black Box Systems.
Black? Oh, like an airplane?
No.
Oh, that's not fun.
So this particular motorcycle has, if you want to count the gauge cluster, 4 ECUs.
What?
It has one for the major runnings of the motorcycle,
Okay.
the ignition system, fuel injection system,
Okay, that's ECU one.
all the controls for the throttle bodies and all that stuff.
That's one ECU.
The gauge cluster is considered, it has the computing power of an ECU,
Okay.
which would be second. The ABS system has its own ECU. And
The
the
BBS.
BBS.
What does the BBS do?
So the BBS controls ABS, traction control,
So this
all of
is
your-
the ECU that
all
does
of your, yes, all of that stuff is controlled by the BBS.
Interesting. Can
Yep.
I pull this up?
You could leave that right where it is.
No.
Yeah, it's a good idea to just leave that.
But see, it's rubber, and I like wanted to. Okay. We're taking this stuff off too, right?
Well, we're gonna go with the tank first. So we need to take the tank bracket off.
Right. That's not a 3 or a 4.
Actually, yeah, that's a 4, and
Are
these
you
are 8s. 4 8s.
There is no way that's a 4.
Look, man, I have the hardware on this bike so memorized, it's kind of gross.
It looked like a.
It looked bigger. Yeah,
Oh, these are okay.
those are 8.
God, you are a walking
It's
freaking
kinda-
manual.
It's kind of, yeah. It's a lot of memory wasted
Why is it wasted?
because you really don't have to memorize what size all the bolts are, you know what I mean? It's like when you're taking this thing apart, you need a 3 mil Allen, a 4 mil Allen. If you're doing a 1099, you need a 2.5 millimeter Allen, and then 8, 10, 11 wrenches and sockets. There's like a sprawl of tools that you take out of your box when you start taking apart a Ducati. So if you have them laid out, you really don't have to memorize what they are. That is gone forever. I heard it hit the exhaust pipe. It is stuck now in the muffler. So we'll find that when we take the exhaust off. That thing is gone. I can't tell you how much of a nightmare it is that this muffler is laid the way that it is because it is a hardware trap. So don't even worry about it. Don't look at it. Don't waste your time. We'll get to it later. I've wasted many, many hours of my life fishing bolts off of mufflers for Panigale.
Okay.
This tank is going to be heavy. It's almost totally full.
Oh, great. Okay, so now that we've blown the bike off, and hopefully Chase won't choke on literal air.
I already feel better.
I don't.
Yeah.
But I think I got the majority inside me. Okay, so
Prop the tank up.
we're doing like a piece of wood or something?
No,
or-
just pull it up. Take a look. See where you're at. What you got. Okay, so there's going to be some stuff right there at the back.
Okay.
So remove that,
Fuel pump, check.
and then
This little metal thing.
that's the ground.
All right, check.
A little bit higher, and you're going to see. You can't go too much higher because the fuel line is there.
Is this the fuel line?
Yep. So
Okay.
that is a quick connect. So you just have to pinch it and pull it off.
It ain't going.
It's just a single silver and
Yeah.
pull it off, and that's it. It may a couple drops of fuel. That's about it.
Okay. You said push it in.
Yep.
And then pull.
Pull down. There you go. That's it. A couple drops of fuel, and that's it.
Okay, fair enough. That was not bad at all.
Very simple.
All right,
All right,
now,
just lay that down and come over to this side.
how is there a hand in this bike already?
You're gonna need a pair of needle nose pliers.
How are you that fast with fucking hands? Jeez. All right, you don't know the pliers.
Yep. You may want to use one slightly longer than the curved ones you had before.
All right.
Prop the tank up again, and in the front of the tank, there's 2 vent lines that have to come off.
Okay.
See them right there? Don't pull up too high. You're already putting a lot of pressure on the hoses.
Okay. So just pull those down.
Yeah.
What's the metal thing?
It's a hose clamp, but it should still come off. Go above the hose clamp, and then try and just give it a little bit of a pry. Don't squeeze the handle so hard, because you're pinching the hose onto the barb and it's making it harder to slide off.
Right.
At this point, you can just grab the hose a little bit further down and boop. There you go.
Oh wow. that was way easy.
Okay. Now you can put the tank down again, and then we're going to take these 2 front pivot bolts out. It's 5 millimeter. Looks like a 4, but it's a 5.
It looks like God. I love how you're now at the point of like we've surpassed you knowing the sizes. It's like, yeah, Chase, that one's a 5. I know to you it'll look like a 4, but I wanted to be on camera that by the end of this season, I want to be able to do your little T-handle twirl. Brian does this little propeller bullshit at the back of a T-handle. That's my goal. Last season I learned to weld. This season I want to learn a T-handle twirl.
Last season you welded. I wouldn't say that you actually learned how to weld, but you welded. Yep. Okay, let's move along.
Okay, so gas tank is totally, it was a washer that went in?
Yep. And it just went this way.
Yeah.
So it's probably just back behind this.
Okay, anyway.
Okay, try and take tank off, see what happens.
See,
You
Brian?
love it when I say that, don't you?
Well, it takes me from this like pure child to being like, hey, we're just gonna release the tank, and oh my God, the hand. I don't see anything that the tank could get stopped on.
Okay, before you break something, I'm going to tell you now, because you're about to just try and rip that thing off, and there's more to it. That sleeve goes through the tank and into this bracket.
So that bracket has to come off.
No, you got to take the sleeve out. Right here. From the end, grab the sleeve.
The middle thing?
Yep, and pull it to there. You don't have to pull it all the way out, about halfway out.
Okay.
That's it. Hear the poop?
Yeah.
It released. Now do the other side.
Okay. My apologies in the video for all the, and.
It's okay if you pulled it all the way out. It's just.
Okay, so that's the only thing that locked the tank to the thing.
Now the tank will just pull right off nice and easy. It won't even pivot though, so you're gonna just pick it straight up. Because that was the pivot. It's gonna be heavy.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to.
There you go.
It's on me?
Yep.
God almighty, there's a lot of gas in here. Andre was going somewhere. He was on a trip.
Doesn't that go in the garbage pile too? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, Brian, you've said it now. It's
Right, but there's other parts on that we're gonna need, like the fuel pump and the gas cap and all the bushings and stuff in the front. And
so we'll have to salvage that independently.
the pieces off of it, yeah.
What the hell is this, though?
Okay, so on Panigales, the frame is the airbox.
The frame is the airbox. Okay. Wait, is that why they say the bike doesn't have a frame?
It doesn't have a frame. Where's the frame?
Oh.
It's a subframe.
Oh.
And then this is a subframe.
Okay.
So it has two subframes. The engine is the main structure.
So what's the difference in why would they call this a subframe and not a frame?
Every other frame, everything bolts to the frame.
Okay.
This thing, everything bolts to the motor.
So the frame, like the term the frame, is just the word for the item on the bike that everything attaches at like the core of the bike.
The core of the bike, yes. The core of the bike is the engine.
Interesting. So that's why there's a subframe, which is a structural piece.
Multiple subframes, yep.
Right.
So the only thing that this subframe holds is the front suspension.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So everything else is hung from the motor.
Right.
Radiator, oil cooler, fan, suspension, rear subframe, seating position, all that stuff is attached to the engine.
Okay. Does that make it, as a tech, does that make it easier or harder to work on the bike?
Much harder to work on.
Okay. So the worst thing that this bike can be done to it is like engine work.
There's no way to do anything fast to this engine because so much disassembly is necessary.
Well, wait, does the VIN number go on the subframe?
The VIN is on the subframe, on the engine.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So if this was a situation like the ZX10, we would only have to get a subframe.
Yep. It's still just as expensive as a full frame. This subframe is probably $3,000.
Let's not mess that up.
Don't mess it up. Nope. So you want to get the rest of this off?
Yeah, we'll stick with that. I'm just like, I'm seeing all this like metal crunched stuff that touch. Yeah, we'll deal with
Yeah,
that.
this is just bolted on. This piece up here is bolted onto the frame. Bolted onto the subframe. 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts holds, and this holds the headlight, gauge cluster, front upper, mirrors, blinkers.
Right.
All that stuff is connected here.
Because I started getting dry sweats when you were like, yeah, this thing right here is $3,000, and then I'm literally
That's a
looking
guesstimate.
at
It might be more, it might be less, but.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So now the way Ducati makes their stuff, taking the subframe off is very, very simple.
The subframe is like we're taking the subframe off.
Yep, and it's going to be the whole tail section is going to come off one big piece.
All of this stuff.
One big piece.
Okay. How do we do that?
Disconnect the electronics. So there's one wire here, and then there's a bundle of wires down over here.
Okay.
And
so there's a big boy.
yeah, if you reach in there, there's a clip that you just pinch and it pulls off. So the BBS stays where it is.
Right.
It's underneath. So you kind of have to.
Oh. What's that clip look like?
Massive.
That is a big old boy.
There's a bunch of wires that feed to the BBS.
Right. And now there's...
That's all the lights. So slide the rubber boot back, and then there's a release. Flip it over.
Oh, I see.
Now, this is the O2 sensor. It goes through the heat shield, so we're gonna have to unplug it because as we take it off.
Okay.
Now this is a little difficult because it's here.
Right.
That's this wire.
Oh,
okay, now this is attached to this piece. Pull that bolt out, slide the ECU out of the way, and then you can remove that from there.
Okay. Should I put the ECU back in this little cradle, or?
You can, just so it's not flopping around. This is gonna be the tough part because there's a bolt right here.
Yeah, right down here.
Not that one, the one that's a little higher goes through the subframe.
Oh shit, okay.
And then there's one on the other side. The one on this side is even harder to get to.
So how do you get to those?
I don't know if you have the right stuff, but we're about to find out. It's not an Allen, it's not a screw, it's not a Phillips, it's a Torx.
So it's just like an Allen, like plus some slots.
It's a star,
Right.
if you will.
Now,
You have some.
I do, but now the question is, do I have the right size? Is it like a T something?
Yeah, it should be like a T40. Check it. It's gonna be the same one that's in here.
Oh, okay. Do have it.
T40.
Lucky be us this day.
Now you have that, but that doesn't mean that you're gonna be able to get to the ones that are down here at the bottom. So we're gonna see what we can do.
Okay.
So let's start over here. You're gonna need a ratchet. You're gonna need a swivel and an extension and
Oh God.
yeah. You may not need them all right now at this very second, but eventually you will. We're gonna start on this one because this one's accessible, hopefully.
Dude, swivels and extensions are...
You gotta watch what you're doing with those because they like to pop out all the time.
Oh God. I lost the swivel. So this plastic piece is holding on to this plastic piece.
That's what it looks like, yeah.
Should we take that, should we take off just this top piece?
If we can get this whole piece off. I don't know if we can though. Oops.
Well, that
So
problem
there's
is
a
off.
plastic rivet there.
God almighty.
It's a rivet.
Oh, it's got the little thing you pop. Where's the flathead? The baby flathead. That. That's not gonna fit.
Nope.
What the hell is gonna fit up in that with the exhaust right there? The baby wrench. Yes.
That's close. You have to be careful taking that bolt out because it's not a direct fit.
Part of me feels like I'm going indefinitely.
There might be a nut on the other side.
Ah, there is. Okay.
Okay. 8 mil. We'll pull the BBS out and that'll give us access. Whatever you do, don't drop that part.
No, you can't say stuff like that.
I had to say it because if you drop it, it's junk. Not the bolt, the BBS when you take the BBS out.
I realize, but I have to I have to get in brain prep mode.
Yeah, go put that someplace very safe. That's like as delicate, if not more delicate than the ECU.
Okay, bolts are going inside of the front. They're not bolted in, but they're safe. Oh, okay, we have access.
Plenty of room now. And that should be an 8. See that little lip?
Is that what that lip is for? You're shitting me. There's a lip over here.
To keep you from dropping that.
Good for, I didn't think I'd be saying this, but good on Ducati.
Unless it's just there for support and it just plays double duty.
Maybe. Gonna be honest, more work doing, I didn't think this little sight run was gonna be this many things to take off to figure out.
Tell me that's actually around that subframe bolt. No, there it is.
What was it being held on by?
Right here,
Oh.
right in there. So this little loop was around this tab. You might as well do the other side.
Yeah. Oh, get a close up in here and let's see if the little lip does the same thing. I don't know. It could be. If that is what that is for, Ducati gets a high five for that. Okay. Now, do you think we can take off both of these guys
At the same time.
together?
Yeah. I think so.
So you got to push down and it pops. Okay.
Yep.
So, sweet. Are we good to?
Now you can get to
Now we
those
can
bolts.
get to the thing. Dude, that took so long. I forgot that our whole mission
Was to take off the subframe.
Right. These are probably all four the same, right?
These might be longer. I'm not sure.
Okay, I'm gonna get her. So we should do the lower ones first and then the upper
And then
ones?
the uppers.
Okay. This is the first time I've had to use swivel things where like they really came in handy. So this is an interesting situation where I'm like, okay, I understand why.
Why people have them?
Yeah.
Why they come in every toolkit?
Right, because we've had them in the garage for a while now, and or at least me, with my hands on it, have never had to. There's 100% a chance this is gonna drop.
Well, grab a pair of needle nose and grab it with needle nose and pull it out. It's not gonna fall. You could let it go.
I know, but I've failed on the.
There you go.
God, that feels
The
accomplished.
other one's right there.
Okay. Is there a technique on left or right, or just whatever?
Actually, just crack them loose. I want to see how much of this moves together. Yeah, you definitely don't need the universal now.
Yeah, I kind of got excited with it, and I just want to keep using it for everything.
Okay, that's cracked loose. I'll do this one real quick.
Holy shit, the exhaust is.
Just
Wait,
the heat shield. Okay,
Oh,
so
that's just the shield.
that's hitting the engine, the cylinder head, right?
It is.
Okay, so we have to take these out completely and it
So
comes
we can-
straight back, not
Got it.
an upward pivot.
This is probably the biggest thing we're taking off, right?
Yeah, probably.
Nothing I can't curl. You know what I'm saying? Oh god.
Straight back. And there it is. Pretty sweet, huh?
I can't tell you how long I would have messed with the rear tail. Just being like,
I had to get all the plastic off
I
first.
gotta get this piece. I would have peeled this thing like a banana. So if you were just doing taillight stuff, you would have just taken that out, right? Like gone into this boy and
It depends.
really.
The 11 and 1299, the subframe comes off a lot easier.
Oh, so this was actually more
It's a
difficult
little bit
than.
more, because you don't have to take these off to get the subframe off on
Right.
the other bike.
Okay.
So to get the subframe off, like I said, is a little bit easier, and it's
Right.
way easier to put that taillight in when the subframe is on the bench top.
I was about to say, like, if we took this over to the bench and just be
Just
like,
sat down and
boop.
laid something soft out, put it on top of it so you don't scratch any bodywork, and then tear it apart. So it would be, instead of having to fiddle with the bike upside down, and
Right.
it's just way easier to put it on the bench and do it like that.
This is Sparta.
Getting heavy now, huh?
A little bit. What are you talking about, Brian? My dog weighs, Oreo probably don't weigh this much.
No.
Okay, slow-mo shot time. Is this piece made out of the same like metal as the?
It's cast aluminum. So
Okay. These are.
it's an 8 mil up top, and then it looks like a 6 mil Allen in there.
Does this thing pivot down on that, or does that just hold it in?
This is a crazy piece of hardware.
Yeah, because there's not a bolt on my side.
There's not?
No. That must run all the way through. Holy shit.
Look how that thing is made.
What in the hell?
That is a crazy piece of hardware.
Wait, that's
right there.
one piece that you're holding right
Yeah, it's
now?
all one piece.
So there's an air box there.
The frame is the airbox.
Right. So all the air, dude, that's nutty. That is some weird ass shit.
Ducati's not the only people that use the frame as an airbox.
Should I not put these back in
Yeah,
there?
we could put them back in.
Okay. God, that's so crazy, dude. I mean, I get it.
It's part of that upper stay.
Oh, don't worry.
There's more in there.
The fun continues. Is that all? Is that it? That's all the fun. Okay, fun's done. Okay, so is there anything else on the bike we should take apart so we can like get a really good look at it?
Well, I think we have enough of it off to see what kind of shape all the important stuff is in.
Right. So guys, the reason we took all the stuff off that we took off, because like a Super Sport has all the fairings and stuff on it. So like there could be a lot of broken stuff that wasn't very apparent, you know, through the fairings. So like, and this is like mission critical stuff in here.
Yep.
Like fairings are just like plastic, make the bike look good stuff.
Right.
So we're not really concerned with fairings right now.
From here, what we could see is both radiators are good. All the electronics on that side are good.
Up here.
Yep. So no damage to the ECU, no damage to the ABS pump and ABS ECU, no damage to the charcoal canister, no damage to the oil cooler. Both upper and lower radiators on this side are fine as well.
I did not realize it had an upper and lower radiator. Holy crap. Wait, what is this, the coolant reservoir?
That's coolant reservoir.
Okay.
So all that stuff is in good shape. Now we could see it all and it's very positive.
Right. And the bike cranked up too.
And the
so,
bike
which
fired
is
over.
Huge deal.
Well, that fork leg is damaged. Not terrible, but it's damaged.
What?
Just
scratched.
nothing crazy. You could see plainly now that the steering stops on both sides, so the lower triple have been broken off.
So that's a definite replace.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. We're gonna have to replace the lower triple.
How often would you see that happen? Like, cause, I mean, it's got those handlebars really got to crank, right?
I mean, if you get into an accident and you hit something with the front wheel and it pulls the handlebars out of your hand, there's a good chance that you'll either damage or break one off.
So this has both broken off. So would that happen at one time at one angle? So the bike had to do that.
Bing, bing, yep, snapped them both.
Holy shit. That's a pretty massive wreck.
Yep.
Sheesh. How did the
I mean,
wheel?
it could have been like, you know, when he hit the truck, snapped one off, and then when it hit the ground, and it snapped the wheel back the other way and snapped the other one off. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, like, that would have to be a massive, like, the front tire would have been a very odd wreck. Okay. And then we all like, do you have any worry about all this, like, tangly?
A little bit.
When you say a little bit, because that gets my anxiety going.
Yeah. What I saw here is this is part of the wiring harness. This is one of the headlight connectors right here, and the connector itself has been destroyed. So we have a couple of options on how to tackle this. Some of them are easy and some of them are not. So the easiest option would be to go to the local Ducati shop and find out if they have a wiring harness that they've removed from something that is still in the shop,
Right.
and then ask them if we can get a connector. And then they just come and snip it off of the harness and hand us the connector, and then we can cut ours off and solder the wires in.
So this is no like data or anything. It's just power.
This is just power and ground. Yep.
Okay.
To the headlight.
Taking off the rear subframe, we were gonna have to take that off anyway to mess with the exhaust and get access to stuff like back here. So we kind of just like preemptively did that.
Well, a lot of the stuff on the subframe is already damaged. All the bodywork was damaged.
Right.
You know, and just to make sure that the subframe, because it was damaged, make sure that the rear subframe was in good shape. Strip the bodywork off of it and check and make sure none of the tabs were bent or broken on it.
So that's what you would look for on the rear
That's what we're
subframe?
looking for in the rear subframe. Really don't have to remove it to do those things, but we are going to be changing the exhaust system on this bike. So the only way to get to especially this one nut on the rear head pipe, you pretty much have to take the subframe off of it to get to that one.
I see.
You can get to these two with an extension, the swivel from like way back here, the long extension, kind of work it in there.
Right.
But to get this one off with the subframe in there is almost impossible.
Okay.
It's just there's too much stuff tucked up
Right.
around it. I mean, especially that spot is covered by the heat shield.
I mean, just getting it off was
A little fiddly.
Yeah, so
I mean,
can't imagine.
Once we got the plastic off, it was a little bit easier to get to, but to get that last nut off is never fun.
Taking everything off, you feeling?
I feel pretty good. You know, there are probably, this is really as deep as we need to go to assess our machine to make sure that nothing is hidden. At least up here. We do still have to take the clutch cover off and make sure that the basket and everything else in here is good.
Yeah.
Make sure that the clutch plates and all that stuff are good.
Yep. We're gonna take a deep dive into the clutch.
We're gonna drain the
next
oil out of it
episode.
and inspect the oil, make sure there's no metal shavings in the oil.
God. Yeah.
Just because
that's what you should do.
Not only that, but we're not going to give this bike back to whoever with the oil that's in it.
Yeah, of course.
Especially being that most of it is already
drained out
of it through the hole.
It's not going to be a lot. I could just get a little coffee cup.
And then we're going to have to remove the radiator assemblies. So we're going to have to drain the radiator, remove the radiator assemblies so we can get to the front head pipe.
So we're going to get into some liquid next episode.
Yeah, next episode I think we'll probably drain all the fluids out of it, brake fluid, which is only in the rear because the front is already empty.
Right.
Engine oil, engine coolant, remove the radiator, remove the exhaust system.
Cool.
And then from there we'll have, for the most part, a completely stripped bike. We don't have to take off these plastic pieces unless we're planning on changing them.
Okay.
Which I'm not sure if we are at this point or not.
Well, that's kind of the cool part we're at right now, especially for the people watching, is like we kind of go on the Patreon page and like talk with people about like how we want to move forward with the build. So the early times in our builds are honestly the most like active time for Patreon, because we're going over there like, hey guys, what color should we do? What exhaust should we go with? And there's a lot of interaction. So if you guys are watching this build, you're interested at all at a Ducati 959, we do a lot of behind the scenes stuff over on the Patreon page because it's those people that make it so we can even do these builds. So, and we also like have conversations with those guys to help decide what to actually do on these bikes. So if you guys are fans of this bike or this show, we'd love you guys to go check out the Patreon page and check it out. And if you're able to support us over there, awesome. If you're not, just watching the episodes does a lot for us.
Make sure to like and subscribe.
Make sure to... Brian getting good at this. If you guys enjoyed us getting level 1 of inspecting the bike done, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you like motorcycle stuff. I'm Chase. Ooh, look at my hands getting dirty, episode 1. No more comments of Chase didn't do anything. I'm Chase, that's Brian. You guys are being floated around by Luke. We appreciate you watching this video, and we'll see you on the next one, where we get to find out if the clutch has blown up in episode 4, not 22. Outro crew, let us know what you think about the disassembly process of getting the rear subframe off. All right, guys, thank you for getting to the end of the video. We'll see you on the next one. Luke, if I hit you with this,